You're listening to The Big Lift, the podcast of WebTrends Optimize, the CRO solution that enables marketers and developers to maximize the ROI on their digital properties. WebTrends Optimize is a powerful, feature-rich and easy-to-use solution, all delivered within a fixed-price contract with no additional cost for increased functionality ever. During these podcasts, we meet some of the key influencers within the marketing and conversion world to understand their roles and examine their challenges. In a break from our usual podcast format, today I'm in conversation with our own CEO here at WebTrends Optimize, Matt Smith. We discuss, amongst many things, how the business has performed over the last 4.5 years, the future of CRO, and the now announced move by Google to sunset Google Optimize. Matt, it's been 4.5 years since WebTrends Optimize was spun off by WebTrends Inc. During that time, the economy's had 2 years of COVID, and now we face the possibility of 2023 being a year of recession. So how's life been for you and for the business?
Yeah, it's been brilliant. Quite the roller coaster, I think, is the best way to describe it. When we sort of embarked on the journey and we separated from WebTrends Inc., we had a well sort of formulated plan. We knew where we were going. We knew where we were heading. And 18 months into that, 2 years into that, we had to tear it up and go back to the drawing board. COVID was a real challenge for many businesses, not just ourselves. And when I often speak to people, they say, well, why were you affected? You're a digital business. How you should have thrived through that. And in theory, we are doing now, but through the start of it, it was a real challenge as businesses just shut their doors and things got tight. They tightened their budgets, they tightened their spend. Businesses that had great online offerings were also having distribution issues. So they had to slow down as well because they couldn't get the product out the door. So it affected everyone in many ways. And fortunately, on the back of that, more people have driven online. It does mean that the death of the high street has been expedited, but that was an inevitable step as we move forward. That the high street needs to be reinvented and to become something new, something exciting, something that brings people there. People will always turn to the easiest method of getting their groceries, buying their clothing, and the cheapest as well. And that seems to be online. So we've seen good growth at the minute. It's been a fantastic period for us. We're hitting record numbers within the business. And we've just got one eye on what's happening with, are we in a recession? Are we not in a recession? The cost of living crisis, the energy crisis, and everything that's going on. But for the moment, we're doing really well. We're helping support businesses in that space and drive things forward.
So do you think people are still moving more towards digital?
Yeah. Without a doubt, there's more and more people that are going online day by day, week by week. The traffic that we're seeing within our clients' accounts, the traffic we're seeing ourselves. I think Black Friday, this was the biggest Black Friday traffic we've ever seen within the business. The figures were enormous, absolutely enormous. So without a doubt, more people are going online. And why wouldn't they? It's miserable outside. There's not many people traveling into towns and cities to work now. The COVID pandemic enabled people to work at home more freely and more easily. So they're not going into the towns, they're not going into the cities. So they're turning online just because it's easy to buy what they need to buy and it's delivered the next day or within a few days. Yeah, there is more and more people. It's happening more and more often. And you're finding the best prices online. There are deals to be found and it's more affordable online from what I'm seeing.
This may be a question that you probably can't answer, but one would think with more and more people working from home, then the shopping mentality is different in that they're shopping in between a coffee break at work. They're being able to spend a little downtime, maybe waiting for a call to come through where they actually might be shopping. Do you see that that's affected many businesses? Are they seeing peaks and troughs at different times of the day?
I think that we've always seen those peaks and troughs. You get hit through the day during the lunch periods. So generally what we'd see and what we'd experience is first thing in the morning, people are online trying to get things done quickly before their day starts, or they're commuting and they're on their phones and they're looking for holidays or looking to buy things. Then you have a lag. And then lunchtimes it picks up again. They pick up that item that they're looking for, or that dream holiday they're researching and things like that. And then they get back to work again in the afternoon. And then in the evenings it picks up after dinner time. So it's not immediate. As soon as people knock off, people get home, they'll have their dinner, and then they're back on it again. And then it starts to taper off in the evenings. But yeah, that trend, it's not changed that much. There may be minor changes there, but ultimately that's been the trend, and that remains to be seen as the trend.
As we look forward to 2023, the future of many businesses must be under some sort of threat as people rein in their spending due to the economic climate. There must be a question in the minds of the marketers inside all these online companies that are questioning how they should spend their potentially reduced budgets in 2003. Have you got any ideas of, how people can make the best of it?
Inevitably, those questions are going on. I'm meeting clients all the time that are reviewing driving more in the top of the funnel versus spending more on their website development or focusing on conversion and things like that. It's a real challenge for businesses. You've got very young businesses out there that are having to spend an awful lot of money to drive acquisition, to bring users to the site, to get them converting. And a lot of people that we're talking to at the moment that are new to CRO or new to e-commerce don't realize that just they've got a website from Shopify, it doesn't mean it's the best converting website in the world. They need to look at the data, they need to work with their GA, they need to understand their user behavior, and they need to optimize that experience to improve it by setting up an e-commerce website on Shopify or another CMS. That's the start of the journey, and you've got this continual journey to improve it. Time and week after week, year after year, you've got to keep driving that conversion forward. Because if not, it becomes a very expensive exercise to spend more money on acquisition, paid, SEO, social, to get more people to the site. And all you're doing is throwing good after bad. And what's more nowadays, Google, this concept of SEO and CRO being two separate things, Google assesses usability on a site as much as it assesses keywords and content. So the two worlds are combining, and users need to be improving and continually improving, or else it's just going to cost more and more to drive traffic. Do I have the answers for what they should be doing? I think you should be doing everything in equal proportions, but assessing your spend on a regular basis. Is that pound going to get more for me spelt elsewhere? Is that funnel converting as it should be? What am I hemorrhaging? Where are the pinch points? How can I improve and drive that forward? Don't just do it on a hunch. Users should be looking at data-driven methods to improve their website and drive that forward. And of course, I'm going to say that we're a CRO business, but it's where we prove the value, we prove where the benefit is, and importantly as well, we protect businesses from making the wrong decisions as well. So it's not all about that killer change to drive that conversion up. If a business is wanting to do something that's going to have a negative impact, test it first, and we're flushing them out. Only this week, I was sat with a client, and we've delivered significant improvement to their website through growth and through testing and improvements that we've made along the year. But also, there were 2 or 3 tests that we found along the year that could have hammered them in the hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of losses had the business had just moved forward with that. So it's really important to protect where you are today, continue driving growth and improving that experience. If you just keep piling more money in the top, then it's going to get costly and more costly over time as Google penalise you and penalise your site ranking and your site score.
But I still get the feeling that maximising conversion is still seemingly a very specialist job. And many companies have not invested or invested enough when times were good, e.g. the increase in online spending during COVID, etc. Why do you believe that companies need to invest now when the outlook is potentially bleaker?
It's more of a cost of if you don't. You're going to spend elsewhere. You need to drive traffic to the site. You need to improve the site. You want to grow. You've got one eye on the market and you can't just stand still. Every time Google release a change or Apple release a new phone and upgrade their operating system, there's huge changes in how people interact with the web and how they use websites and things like that. And businesses have to constantly evolve to enable that. But there's a point that you said at the start there, which is around the cost of people doing it and it being very specialist. That's not right. Years ago, when we were founded in 2000, it was very niche what we do,
Hmm.
very specialist. And you couldn't just go out and do it. You needed help and support to do it. 2009, we launched our managed service and we helped supporting clients on that way and driving businesses on that. And that's where we saw real good growth because it was still very niche at that point. I think you fast forward then to 2015 and beyond, businesses are growing. Businesses have got teams that are doing CRO within there. It's easier to hire people as well. There's more people in the industry, more people that understand it and do and practice CRO. And then you fast forward to now where it's a commodity. Businesses need to do it. They have to do it to continue to grow forward. It's not just for the juggernauts that have got huge budgets. It's not for the select few. CROs for everyone. Yes, you need a good amount of traffic, but there are still tactics that you can deploy to a site that helps drive that forward and run smaller programs, run little programs, run things higher up the funnel to get more flooding through. There are things that most businesses can do and should be looking at that.
So when you're talking to clients, and say for instance it's a brand new client that currently isn't doing any testing, conversion rate optimization, whatever we want to call it, do you think that the marketers inside of that business have an understanding of what CRO is or testing is and how it can increase the revenue stroke profitability of the business? Because I still feel that marketers coming out of universities, colleges, even independent companies still don't get testing. Did you say that's true, or do you think it's getting better?
It's certainly getting better. We've hired someone into the business recently, fresh first roll out of university, and he was aware of conversion rate optimization, A/B testing, multivariant testing, what experimentation, whatever brand we want to give it. There's so many different brands for what we do. It's crazy. But he was aware of it and very passionate about it. And he understood it. And he's growing more and more, and he will grow more and more when he gets hand on experience. And I think he's the case that sort of highlights to me that things are changing. It is becoming more of a commodity. People are aware of it. And it's growing. It's growing more and more. There's more agencies doing it. There's still a lot of agencies that don't offer
Yeah.
conversion rate optimization, but there's a heck of a load more that do. That the whole industry is growing, and it's the stats that I read are unbelievable. But it's predicted to grow 4 times in the next sort of 2 to 3 years. So it's a huge growth. There's a huge focus on it. But specifically looking at marketeers within businesses, I think that if they're doing CRO and they're not aware of it or in the wider business, that's an internal problem that needs to be fixed. Yeah, the users that are at the coalface that are running these programs, they want to be the ones that are promoting the gains and promoting the wins and the losses to the wider business and bringing them on that journey. The really successful businesses that we see and work with are aware of that, and they're driving that awareness and that knowledge and those wins, and it brings everybody on that journey, and it just helps drive it forward because you get fresh ideas from around the business instead of it being really siloed within an individual or a small team of individuals. And it's about bringing people on that journey.
You mentioned just a short while ago the cost of not doing testing or CRO. Well, let's just call it testing experimentation for now. So, how can you as a business help educate those people who are maybe, I'll use the word, fumbling around with trying to think that experimentation may be valuable for their business? So, how can you make sure that any investment that they do make is going to be worthwhile?
So we've got a series of different changes within the platform, or we've made recent updates to the platform so that our reporting is more intuitive to highlight things. The reporting that you do get out of there is really clear and concise, and users can easily pick that up instead of extracting it and sending it somewhere. But also, we're not a business that just wants to sell licenses. Yeah, I sit down and it sounds very corny and very cheesy, but when I sit in a meeting room with people, or when we're in an RFP situation, or someone wants to buy a license, we're not interested in selling licenses. We're interested in selling CRO. I want people to be using it and not just buying it. And we want to nurture people on that journey and bring them on that journey. And we'll help to a degree, but we've got our network of partners out there that are there as well, and they've got their own education programs. They really support the industry, and there's more and more events in the industry as well. So we were headline sponsors for the Experimentation Elite event earlier this year. We did the winter event and the summer event. Events like that are educating people and sort of driving that forward. I think for me, it's the events and the knowledge that's available and the knowledge that people are sharing at those events. We're doing more and more webinars to help grow people's understanding and expertise. We're doing more and more partner events where we're getting people together to share, again, more knowledge and experience and just helping drive that and grow the industry instead of just being happy that someone comes to a website and buys a license, because that's not what it's about. It's about people getting value from it and driving that forward. And that's what we want to do as a business. And that's what we're focused on. And we're trying to not be thought leaders as a business. It sounds a bit corny, but be honest. If it's not right for a business to do it, then work with them and advise them and inform them, yeah, and drive everyone in the right direction and support them instead of just leaving them high and dry.
I think one of the challenges is many people who are dabbling in CRO tend to go for something like Google Optimize, which is very much a self-service with very little hands-on guidance with regard to what they should be doing and how they should be doing it. Do you think that WebTrends Optimize offers something to those companies who are probably a little bit more educated than just the basic, I don't know anything about testing, to those people who are maybe using Google Optimize to help them refine what they're trying to do to be able to deliver real value to those businesses?
We absolutely do. And you've raised a very poignant matter. There's a lot of rumours in the market, and none of these are confirmed, that Google, with their move to GA4, is finding complications with bringing their Google Optimized product into that. And that will literally throw the cat amongst the pigeons, because there are a lot of people, there are a lot of partners out there that use Google Optimize as a free product to prove the value of CRO to somebody that's new to it. So they'll come along, they'll find a free product, and off they go. And they'll help them on that journey, get them to a maturity where they'll then navigate to a paid product or something else. We have an offering in that very same space. So our stack has no tiers in it. We've got no price upgrades. We've got no limitations there. But we have a free tier right at the start of our stack. It's limited by sessions. It's up to 10,000 sessions a month. And we enable users to use our stack to prove CRO and drive that forward and unlock the true value of what CRO can deliver for them. But yeah, we have that. We've had that since the start of COVID. So it was an initiative that myself and the management team decided to roll out to support businesses on the journey. We could see the drive to online at the start of COVID. And instead of pushing prices up like a number of our competitors did, we wanted to offer a free solution that enabled more users to start on the CRO journey and take that forward. So whatever happens with Google Optimize, it's been great for our industry. It's a great enabler for people moving and adopting CRO, but there are other options out there, and we are one of them.
You mentioned the fact that there are rumours around about Google and rolling their optimized product into GA4. Do you think that's going to help the market, or do you think that's going to confuse the market if it's just seen as analytics and an extension?
I don't know. They're positioning themselves as they would just want pure analytics. They want to enrich data. They want people to... So where they won't offer you the ability, and these are the rumors that I'm reading, and there's more and more. You turn to LinkedIn, there's tons of people that are starting to sort of cast their opinions on what's happening. But certainly from what I'm hearing is that Google will still enable users to upload their data into Google Analytics, into GA4, and they'll enrich that data with all of their analytical data, and that'll be data from third-party platforms that they'll then put in there. And those will be, or it's been highlighted that external CRO platforms, you can upload your data there to enrich it, but you may no longer have the ability to run those tests within Google Optimize. So they're going back to being a sort of pure player in that space, and who knows? We will see. Again, it's all rumours at the moment, but the story's unfolding more and more. The more I read, the more I see updates on LinkedIn. It's gathering momentum. But in the meantime, we have our own offering, and it's been around now for 3 years, and we're continuing to evolve that. We've got more and more users on our free tiers, and we're supporting them and helping them drive that forward as well.
So, being part of the business, I kind of separate our potential market into three sectors: those that haven't tried experimentation, those that are using experimentation and I'd say dabbling with it, and those people who are actually getting the most out of experimentation. And from where I sit, in marketing, I understand there is potential in each one of those particular areas. Obviously, from the low end, those who are never using CRO, I'd ask the question, and I'm sure our listeners would be interested, is how do we make it risk-free for those people who are entering it for the first time? Then we've got the opportunity for those companies that are dabbling in it. How can we educate people better to be able to get more from their experimentation tool? And those people who've been using experimentation for a long time, how do we get them to review what's in the market today? Because obviously a lot of those people will be looking at technologies that they bought 4, 5, 6 years ago and are still using it. And one of the things that I'd ask as that question is, how would you overcome the objection that the cost of changing for those larger companies to a new system is too high? So there's basically three questions in one there. The maturity of the market is fine. We see potential in those areas of the market. So first of all, how would you make it risk-free for businesses trying experimentation for the first time?
So that it's a very easy one. We've just spoken about our free tier. So we offer free trials. We have free tiers within the platform that enable users to take the platform and run with it.
But that's if you like, Matt, that's very much a yes, here's a product, go and try it, rather than how can we help these people? Because a lot of people will find experimentation quite confusing for the first time. I know our own experiences when people start using it and they're guided as to how to use it. They get more out of it, and they get more out of it, they invest more heavily. So what's WebTrends Optimize doing for those low-end customers other than providing just a free tier? How do we get them from being a free tier customer in somebody who's now engaging with CRO?
Yeah, the intent and the moving forward with the free tier is the first part of the jigsaw puzzle. Yeah, from us then, we're monitoring these free tiers on a daily basis. We want to make sure that people are getting the most out of them, the best out of them. And we'll step in, we'll communicate, we'll have a conversation, we'll help them on that journey and help advise them. And if they want something more than that, we've got our partner networks that we can refer them to that can step in. Often on a low cost, they'll help do a site review, they'll help do some initial analysis, give them some guidance, give them some training. So there's a whole host of options that are available, and it's different to each and every one. You've got some businesses that are new on the journey, but they've just employed someone that's familiar with CRO. So they're a lot more mature on that path and on that journey. And their challenge is to convince the business it's the right thing for them to do and it's the right thing to adopt and support. And we help them with that. We help drive that forward and give them the knowledge, the sort of the skills, the training within the platform. It's worth mentioning that our free tier, they don't just take a free tier. We will invest the time and effort to train every user to make sure that they're getting the most out of it. And they're aware of the sort of the power and the capabilities that they have in their hands, so that it's not just go to a knowledge base, go to YouTube, go to here to learn how to do it. That material's there, but we want to spend a bit of hands-on time and coach them and teach them and train them how to use the product and how to get the most out of it. And we don't go away after that. Within our product, we've got live chat built into there. So if someone's trying to do something in the moment, they can fire up live chat, have a chat with senior members of the team. that will help guide them through the problem and move them on their way. They've got their allocated support consultants, so they don't go to a pool of people that it's a different person every time it's picked up. It's a different person and a different challenge every time. They go to a single point of contact that's there to guide them and help them on that journey. And then, of course, we've got your Jira help desk. We've got all of that. But we try to be very personable, very available to help people on that journey, especially at the start when they're embarking on that journey as well.
In your experience, what does a company need to do? Because buying the technology is one thing. Having a partner like WebTrends Optimize is another. But what is it that's the bit that makes a success of an experimentation solution within the business? Not within WebTrends Optimize, but within the business that's buying in a technology?
For me, and for what I see, a lot of what we do and a lot of what good businesses that do this well, it's about understanding the business and driving the right hypotheses and reinforcing those test ideas. So not just looking at a website and going, oh, we'll change the color of a button. It's looking at the data, looking at the analytics, understanding your user behavior, looking at session recording tools and playing that back and reviewing the pinch points and getting that data. The key thing is about doing the right analysis to drive the right test ideas so that you're testing in the right areas and you're looking at the right things and you're focused on the right things instead of just doing things on a gut hunch and just running with it because it feels right or because somebody on the board has said we're going to do this. Yeah, everything needs to be data driven, good analysis, good thought process, good planning, and you'll get good tests and you good results out of the back of that as well.
On the other side of that, what do you see are the major pitfalls you've come across when people are starting to implement solutions?
The pitfalls we're seeing at the moment is, as a part of COVID, a lot of businesses cut back spending marketing and resources in marketing. And then people become multi-skilled. So you've got someone doing SEO, CRO, bit of social, and their jobs are becoming broader. As soon as CRO becomes part of someone's role, it's kind of the end of the end. It starts to be deprioritized. There's something more important or there's something else they need to be doing. And it's a challenge. It's difficult to bring it back when out of all of their multidiscipline elements that they've got there, it's the one that's the most proven because everything you do reaches a result, reaches a conclusion. Should we do it? Yes. No. What's the uplift? What's the return? What's the impact, positive or negative? And it needs real focus. So where the challenges we have at the moment, and certainly conversation that I'm having is CRO not getting the attention it deserves or needs within a business as a result of the staffing impact through COVID and things like that.
I don't normally use this podcast as a sales platform, but obviously I'm talking to you, CEO of the business, to give you the opportunity of trying to be able to let people know what are the USPs of choosing WebTrends Optimize? What value do we deliver to them in a shorter state as possible?
It's a very interesting question, and it's I could dribble on for hours being a northerner with the answer on that. To keep it as short as I can, it kind of centres around an exercise that we're going through at the moment, and we're evaluating our company values and looking at what does WebTrends Optimize mean to our employees instead of picking from a corporate list that the huge corporates have out there. It's more valuable to us for the employees to say, this is what I believe our business is about. This is what I believe is important. And I think that listening to the team and our people helps guide us and helps us not only assess what our value should be, but it also gives us great feedback on what we're doing and how we're portraying ourselves. And there's a lot there. So the things that are coming out are transparency, delivering on our promises, customer focused and orientated, caring, charitable. We do a lot with charities, and we've got our own elected charities that we do regular events for. Innovative. we're constantly evolving our product and investing in our product. And then fun and humorous, respectful, teamwork, collaborative, hardworking, inclusion and diversity. These are all things that the team have brought to the table. And what how I boil all that down is we care. We're a team of passionate people that care about what we do. We love working together. We innovate. We drive our platform forward. And that is what makes WebTrends Optimize the difference. People buy from people. And when people are engaging with our business at any level, it's not about a sale. It's about, first and foremost, understanding the problem and how can we help them with that problem. And then introducing them to the right partner or anybody along that journey to ensure that we can support them through that challenge. I could sit here and say, because we've got the best technology, and I wholly believe that. Our technology is second to none. Our reporting is the best in the market by far. But for me, it's the people and the mindset of the business that make us different and make us stand out above the rest. There's no hard sales within our business. There's no hard drive. It's all about doing the right thing, and we care an awful lot about what we do. We're very passionate about our industry, our sector, our partners, and the people we engage with, and everything we do. And it echoes from my role to the board, to the management team, to the rest of the business. And going down this journey was very flattering because everybody responded with two or three sort of values that they thought we portrayed as a business, and it was a very flattering exercise. And it's something that you opens your eyes and you like, yeah, that's what our business is about. It's about the people, because our people care about delivering for our existing clients, our future prospects, and beyond that.
So one final question, and I think this is a question which you're going to find some difficulty in answering, but hopefully the last 4.5 years have given you some insight in what the future may hold. But how do you think the next 12 months are going to pan out?
I think they're going to be tough. First and foremost, they're going to be tough. They're going to be easier than COVID, but they're going to be tough. For us as a business, how's the future panning out? We're going through growth. We've just hired 6 people recently. We've got more and more people coming into the team, more and more people planned. And that growth is because we're growing fast at a rate we've never seen before. The next year, I anticipate that there'll be more and more businesses that review the market. So we've got people that have stuck around with their existing partners and technologies for 4 or 5 years longer than they would have done. But because of COVID and the whole lockdown scenario, things got pushed by the wayside. Technologies weren't reviewed. So there's a lot of change going on in the industry. But it's also a growing sector as well. I don't know. It's a very tough question because at the moment we're not in a recession. They keep telling us that we're going into one, and as soon as we get into one, it'll be a different scenario entirely. So it's a very tough one to answer.
I appreciate that, and obviously you don't have a crystal ball like many of us to be able to predict what the future is going to be like. But based upon the fact that over the last 4.5 years we've gone through the trials and tribulations of COVID and a few other things too that have happened as well, I think the future is pretty bright and the opportunity is good. And I think that, hopefully we'll be sitting here in another 4.5 years having another podcast with you to say, how the first 9 years of the business has gone. Because I think it's definitely seeing growth and it's definitely seeing confidence. And from what I'm hearing from our clients, they're happy with what they get, not just in the product, but in the service and the commitment of the staff to make sure that their problems are our problems.
Yeah, and that's absolutely the case. I think our retention is 100% at the moment. For this financial year, we've got 100% retention, and that's because we care, we're committed, and clients are getting a lot out of what we're doing. The growth is enormous, so we've already outsold last year. it's the opportunity that's there is enormous, but who knows what's around the corner. When I embarked on this journey 4.5 years ago, I didn't even know what COVID was, and then
No, we didn't, did we?
you get a sucker punch and something comes out of the woodwork. And it's we're prepared to adapt as a business, and we're focused and growing and driving and yeah, a really tough question because it's let's see what happens at Downing Street and the circus brings in.
Matt, thank you very much for your time. It's been a good conversation. We will have more frequent conversations in the future, I'm sure, as the business grows and as our client base becomes more and more satisfied. But for now, thank you very much for your time.
No problem. Thank you, John.